Can do the recording. Nityananda, welcome back to Ashtavakra Gita. Today's session number 7, also the last session. Welcome to this, amazing concluding session of Ashtavakra Gita. My name is Manitya Dugananda. Welcome to Kailasa, Singapore. Today is 16th of August, 2023. So I'd like to first, let's get ready to enter into the preparation to the inquiry into this great truth. So sit with the back straight, align, hold head, neck, and spine one straight line. Sit comfortably in any meditative posture, Sukhasana, Padmasana, Adha Padmasana, Siddhasana, any posture that you feel comfortable. And just close your eyes and be centered in the body awareness from head to the toes, fingertips. And then feel the boundary of where the skin ends, which is your physical body, and start breathing, infusing prana shakti, life energy to this whole body. So breathe in very slowly, enter into a pause, a gap, and exhale very slowly and completely. Take a few moments to integrate the body and mind to the space of now through your breath awareness. Settle yourself into the space of listening, shravana, in restful awareness. And start unclutching from any thoughts, any visualization. Just be in the pure space of awareness. In that restful awareness, let's invoke Swamiji. By chanting the Sadguru Vandanam, followed by 3 times the Mahavakya, take a deep breath. Nityanandam Paramasukaram Kevalam Jnanamutim Vanjvatitam Gaganashatrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalam Achalam Savadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarihitam Satguruntam Namami. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Now in that meditative state, let's request Swamiji, who is embodiment of Paramashiva, to bless all of us to experience what Ashtavakra has revealed in this whole sacred knowledge. In today's session, as a final session culminating to the final session, let's request him sincerely from our being to grant all of us that experience of the unclutching and or the unattached space of our true nature. So with that, let's enter into the session itself. Once again, a very warm welcome to everybody who just got connected to the social media. So I welcome those who are joining me on the Zoom as well as in the center. So let's get on to the next slide. So as usual, I'm going to do a quick recap of all the 8 verses we've covered so far from the last 6 sessions. For the benefit of people who have not attended any of the session or maybe coming in for the first time today. So just go through what Ashtavakra has reviewed so far in these 8 verses. Okay, so the first verse he told King Janaka, he said, If you aspire for liberation, my child, shun the objects of senses as poisoned, and seek forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, contentment, and truth as nectar, amrita. These are the nectar of life. These are the things we should be seeking rather than sense pleasure or objects of senses. Okay, so that was the first truth he gave. That means drop all this ephemeral chasing of this sense object, but fall into this eternal quality, right, of the truth as the juice of life, he said. Now, then in the second verse, he revealed now the nature. Okay, he said, you're neither the earth, water, fire, air, nor ether. That means you're beyond the five elements, which is what this whole entire cosmos is made of, and what the cosmos and you are made of, also the five elements. He said, but you're beyond that. So in order to attain liberation, moksha, realize yourself as a knower of all these and consciousness itself. We say, you are consciousness, realize that. Okay, so that was the second verse. He gave the direct truth that, hey, you're not matter, you are consciousness. Come back to this realization. Then in the third verse, he says, if you detach from the body and rest in intelligence, you will at once be happy, peaceful, and free from bondage. So then he gave the next instruction. He said, because of our attachment to this body, which is matter, okay, we are bound. The soul is bound because of the attachment to this body. He said, now detach from the body and fall back to the intelligence of consciousness, and you will be for once feel the peace and bliss and feel free from all these bondages associated with the body. So he gave the next truth. First, unclutch from the body. Then he says in the fourth verse, he said, no, you do not belong to the Brahmana or any other caste or any ashrama. That means what? These are all societal conditioning. At that time, in India, at the time where Ashtavakra and King Janaka exist, at that period or the era, they have all this 4 ashrama and 4 varana, right? Which is 4 classifications of different life stages, which is ashrama. Then the 4 categories of people with different mental setup. So Brahmana is one of them. Brahmana is the one who gives knowledge of enlightenment, right? So he said, you're beyond all this, you don't belong to any of this thing. Because as consciousness, you are not visible to the eyes. Your energy, your pure energy, your light, okay? Unattached, formless, witness of all are you. Be blissful. So he said, get back to the original state of the formlessness as a witness. Because as a consciousness, you're nothing but a witness. You're formless. You're not clutched to any of these things, okay? The society conditioning, nor the matter, which is your body, how you associate yourself with this gross body, okay? So this is the 4th verse he gave. Then in the 5th verse, he goes on to the next level, talking about the mind stuff, okay? From body, he breaks the societal conditioning. Then in the 5th verse, he breaks your mental setup, the conditioning of the mind. He say, hey, whether it's virtue or vice, okay? Pleasure or pain are of the mind, not of you. Oh, all-pervading one, you are neither the doer or the enjoyer. Verily, you are ever free. So again, he reminds us the free nature as consciousness. Instead of associating ourselves with patterns, with incompletion, right? Virtue or vice are conditioning of the morals, right? Because in society, we're taught morality. You need to exhibit certain virtue. You need certain things are bad, called vice, right? And then, the mind tends to associate with pleasure and pain. So he said, these are all the mind stuff. Don't associate yourself with that, because you are the all-pervading one. Means what? You are energy. You are consciousness everywhere. And if you again remember that state, you are forever free. Okay, so that's the fifth verse. Next slide. So then in the sixth verse, he revealed another layer of the consciousness. He said, verily you are ever free. He keep reminding us of the freedom, being unclutched, being free. He said, you are the one seer of all, really ever free. Verily, this alone is your bondage, that you see the seer as other than such. It means you have forgotten that you are a seer, the witness. Instead, you're attached to the seen and the seeing. When you're attached to the seen and the seeing, you are bound. You're forgotten your free nature, the freedom you have. Okay. So again, he reminds us to get back to the seer, the witness, the witnessing consciousness. Okay. So this is the sixth verse. And on the seventh verse, he says, you who have been beaten by the great black serpent of egoism, I'm the doer. Drink the nectar of the faith. I'm not the doer, and be happy. Okay. Why he wants to remind us how we become bound. How it's because we've been caught by this thing called ego, the egoism. Okay, I'm the doer. The ego means what? I'm the one doing. Because when you think that you're the doer, you're the enjoyer, you're caught by that association. He said, no, you're not the doer. That is the truth. Just be blissful and come back to the witness, right? Because as a consciousness, he is doing it through you. So that's one thing he reminds us. When you relinquish that idea that I'm the doer, you will create so much, I would say, relaxation within you. Okay? Otherwise, you will feel that, oh, I'm the doer, I have to do it. You keep running behind the goal. With that, you get stressed out. Okay, in the 8th verse last week, we covered, I said, burn down the wilderness of ignorance with the fire of the knowledge. Means what? Seek the truth, because the fire of knowledge is what burns away all your darkness of ignorance. Ignorance is like darkness in the spiritual sense. Knowledge is like light, right? The presence of the Guru is light. The Guru gives you light, illuminate the whole darkness and make you see clearly. So that is that's why Guru is also known as the dispeller of darkness. Okay, that's why in spiritual seeking, we need a guru, because a realized one is able to guide the unlit lamp. Before we meet the guru, the lamp is not lit. Only when you meet the guru, a guru is a realized one, the lamp is lit, so that lamp transmission happen to this unlit lamp, okay, to the disciple. Then you also start illuminating. Remember your original state. So you say, I'm the one and pure intelligence. That is the nature of consciousness. I'm the one, pure consciousness. Be free from grief and be happy. So all your sadness, grief, incompletion, anger, whatever that makes you incomplete or negative, he said, be free from all this, because just fall back to that consciousness. You will experience bliss again. You will feel happy, you will feel blissful, and feel enormous freedom. Okay, so these were the 8 verses that we have covered so far. Because in the first 9 verse, honestly, Ashtavakra already given the whole truth about science of pure enlightenment. Okay, it means the pure science of enlightenment. See, normally this is the way how I notice enlightened master work. They will straight away give you the boom, the truth. Then if you don't get it, then they'll elaborate, go further down, bring down the next level till you understand. This is what I noticed. So same way for Ashtavakra, he just boom, give you the truth as it is. But because King Janaka is still not able to grasp, so he has to give more words, to take the disciple to the truth. Same way for even Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was not ready to listen to the truth. He was filled with incompletion. He wanted to run away. So that's why Krishna had to spend time to listen to his fear, his patterns. Then before Krishna starts speaking in the second chapter, because the first chapter was Arjuna babbling, vomiting all his patterns. Okay, so now let's enter into the 9th verse in this session, last session of the day. Okay, so Ashtavakra reveals the 9th verse. He said, hey, your unbounded awareness. It means what? You're not bound, you're unbounded, you're expansive, all-pervading awareness, bliss, supreme bliss, ananda, in which the universe appears like a mirage of a snake in a robe. Be happy. Okay. Now, so the first statement everyone can cognize. The second statement is what we need to understand why he say that. See, in this whole universe, when you are seeing through the normal 2 eyes without the understanding of your true nature, you will see, you will see the illusion. Mirage means what? Maya, right? When you go to the desert, you see the mirage, right? Right? Actually, there's no water, but you think that there's water, right? So it's the same thing. Mirage is Maya, illusion. Illusion of a snake in a robe. You think it's a snake, but actually it's a robe. It's harmless. So he said, don't fall into the Maya. Get back to your original state as unbounded awareness, supreme bliss. This is you. This is what you need to cognize and get back and experience the original state of supreme bliss, ananda. That's why in Vedic tradition, a lot of time we're given the name spiritually with ananda. If you go to a lot of other tradition, besides Swamiji, right? Ananda is always given, whether it's Ananda something or Nitya or Ananda. Nitya means eternal because Swamiji is called Nityananda, right? So he's had both Nitya and Ananda. But if you look at a lot of the other tradition, whether it's other tradition, they always have Ananda in the name because that is our true nature. Remind us we are bliss, Ananda. So now let's go through this verse again. I read again. Your unbounded awareness, bliss, supreme bliss, in which the universe appear like a mirage of a snake in a robe. Be happy, okay? Be blissful, he said. So man does not have unconscious and subconscious mind. See, in the society, if I study psychology, okay, which I had in the university, my first year of university, and then when I took up the diploma of counseling more than 10 years ago, we were taught from the psychoanalysts, the so-called the behavioral science, that man has unconscious and subconscious. Okay? Anyone remember if you have studied? Okay, this is the truth. Okay? So this is what we've been taught by society. Now, it's very, very challenging in both statements, which goes against the theory of psychoanalysis, okay? All the theories of psychology and the modern philosophy which try to explain the workings of the mind. Okay, they say that, oh, you have this like, unconscious mind, subconscious mind, blah, blah, blah. So he said, be very clear. The truth is, the modern day psychologists have only worked with sick people. That's why the sample of those people they analyze are all sick people. They never analyze enlightened beings, right? So enlightened beings' mind is very different from the sick people. So like Sigmund Freud, we we like to call him the fraudulent Freud because his theory are all fraudulent. Anyway, so basically he said that because they were working with those sick specimen, all the people who come and he diagnosed are all sick people, mentally unsound. So as a result, the conclusion will be based on very, very negative, what do you call that? Deduction of these sick people, right? So if you study this and use this as your understanding of man's possibility, then you're heading in the wrong path. Very dangerous direction, right? Because you're analyzing all sick people only. So he said, no. See, no, not one fulfilled being it was part of their research. That means what? They have never even gone to Assam, India, and find an enlightened master or enlightened being to even diagnose their brain. Okay? So, which will give a very different result, but unfortunately they don't have this fortune, okay, to do that. So as a result of that, the standard which they set as normal is itself abnormal, sick, okay. So Sigmund Freud did not have an opportunity to work with a Buddha, enlightened being, enlightened master, because he was in US or in Europe, whatever, so the sample he got are all human being with sick mind, okay. So so they did not have an opportunity to have Ramakrishna as a specimen. Ramakrishna is enlightened master. He's a Paramahamsa. They never have all these great enlightened beings as a sample. That's the result. The conclusion is very, very abnormal. That does not represent the possibility of human being or humankind, okay. So the idea of unconscious or subconscious is one more concept to create more fear in us. So one group of people has created the idea of sin, guilt, and another group has created the idea of subconscious and unconscious. Okay, so both of which exploit the masses. If we buy into this theology of you're a sinner, okay, whatever you do, you're a sinner, then you fall into this guilt and the trapping or forever the philosophy that you feel that you are, no matter what you do, you're always a sinner. That means very low self-esteem, self-denial patterns is created. If you fall into the idea of unconscious and subconscious mind, be very clear, you fall into this self-doubt. Okay. So in any case, all this will exploit you because you don't know your true nature. That's why when I did my diploma in counseling, I look at this, I say, I cannot relate with this, but okay, for the exam, I will do that. But I never use this understanding when I work with people because I know what is the best species. Right? Next slide. They seriously need to be updated. So unconscious or subconscious mind is pure myth. Okay? Now, this may be too bold statement for a lot of people to be, even all the while I went to university to study this, and then I tell me this is a myth. It's like I want to bang my head on the wall. But that's true. Okay? What to do? So the idea of unconscious or subconscious is a concept that just creates more fear in us. The idea of sin and guilt and the idea of unconscious and subconscious are concepts that could exploit people. So if you fall into this ideology, you are just, being exploited, basically. Because any fear you have, you are able to be controlled. fear is what society or the mind can control you. Okay, so the concept of sin guilt has been created to always keep you down, keep you, you know, in the lower realm of self-denial or self-hatred, and to take your confidence away, that your your enthusiasm and positivity and possibility of life, you're taken away, you're robbed of that. Can you imagine that part of you is being robbed away? Just, you're wrong, you're being fed or inserted with wrong ideas, ideology, okay, by society. That is like the worst poison or the worst brainwashing. But if someone does not feel guilty, he cannot be exploited. Okay, when you're carrying guilt, Swamiji said guilt is the sure killer of intelligence. It means what? When you carry guilt, your intelligence is gone. You become stupid, because guilt creates stupidity. Because you will not be able to use your intelligence to make wise decisions anymore. Okay, so never carry guilt. Guilt is the worst thing to carry. So the moralistic ideas have been created. Oh, this is moral, this is not immoral. All this nonsense is to control us. If your parents tell you, if you do this, you're a moral person. If you don't do this, you're wrong. This is immoral. All these ideas given by parents, by society, is what make us become bound, like a chained. We're being caged. We can't feel free anymore. Okay, which could cause guilt in you, so that you can be exploited on an ongoing basis. The moment you're bound, you bought into this moralistic idea of right and wrong, virtue and vice. All this, you're now caught. You're caught. Got it? Next slide. If you understand how the last 3 years, the COVID pandemic, you understand what I mean by this, okay? If you understand how the whole conspiracy happened to create the fear in all of us, if you're able to go beyond that, you understand all these are nothing but certain fear created at the mass level, the unconscious level, to make us run in certain direction. Okay. Now, so this is where Swamiji, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivan, give this statement. He said, "Oh, son of immortality," because as consciousness, you're eternal, you're deadless. Okay, that's why he says, "Oh, sons of immortality." So the one and only sin that you commit is clutching to the old thoughts and creating a shaft. The thoughts that that binds you. Okay, so be very clear. You may commit an act which society label as sin. Okay, maybe you did some mistake. Okay, but you're not a sinner. Do you understand? You may have cheated because you didn't know, right? Because at the time you just cheated, you just told a lie. But that doesn't make you a sinner. You told a lie because you didn't know what to say. But that does not condemn you as a sinner. This is why the Vedic rishis are beautifully addressing as Amritasya Putraha. Okay, listen this word, this very important word. Learn this Sanskrit word. Amritasya Putraha. Sons of immortality. This is who you are. You are the sons of immortality. You are by your very nature immortal, deathless, eternal. Okay? So there is no need to achieve that state separately. You are already dead. That is your nature. So what is there to achieve when you are dead? You just need to realize and remember. Just by remembrance and connecting back to the true nature, you will fall back. Okay, so this is the statement given by the rishis. Okay, he said see, all the Vedic rishis, enlightened masters, sages, they never address you as sinners. You see, they always address you as a consciousness, right? Here in they say, amritasya putraha, which means the sons of immortality. They say, oh, sons of immortality, this is what they're addressing you. So for practical purpose, we have started translating the word putra as son, okay? But the literal translation of this statement, okay, is say you are the outcome of the intense enlightened experience. Understand? You are the outcome. So putraha means outcome of the intense enlightened experience. So that is the translation. Okay, I'm just going to try to read that in Sanskrit. Okay, Shruvantu Vishve Amritasya Putraha Vedaha Matam Purusham Mahantam. Okay, so this is the Sanskrit original Sanskrit were given as the translation. You are the outcome of the intense enlightened experience. Next slide. So we continue. So if one says that you are a sinner, if someone tells you are a sinner, because some philosophy tell you are a sinner, you're forever a sinner. You need to repent. You need to go and confess. You need to go to a room and confess. Okay. So then you can conclude that they have a vested interest in you in you making you believe that you are a sinner. When you make all the people around you believe that they are lower level, okay, everybody is sinner, you're lower level, then you have the confidence that you are a higher person. You're someone important or holier than them, right? So, but the Vedic rishis, all these enlightened masters, are not speaking in this kind of language, but putting you down, making them feel higher than you. The rishis are saying that you are much more than your identity. They're saying you're God, you're divine. It means son of mortality means you're God, right? Only a man who has experienced this truth, who has the courage to tell this truth to others. So that's why a realized being, realized enlightened masters, can come down to tell you and say, this is the truth. You are that, okay? So, and who trusts his disciple with the thought that even if I give him this courage and confidence, he will respect me. He will not disrespect me, okay? Only when you have that much courage, this truth can be reproduced to many, many people, understand? So the rishis were not only experienced, they had tremendous trust as well. They trust this whole science, this whole truth, knowledge, sacred knowledge, the royal sacred knowledge, okay? They were only concerned about reproducing that solid experience. That's why in enlightened masters, their mission is to produce more and more people to have that solid experience, reproducing that solid experience of that realization. So they did not give importance to anything else. They don't care whether you donate money or care whether you build a temple for them. They don't really bother. They just want to reproduce the same experience they had to more and more people. Okay, they did not give importance to their name or fame. They don't bother. They're just happy being, who they are. Because they realize that they are much more than these identity, whatever society label them. They're more than that. Okay, because they're in that state, they don't care about what society. You can see all these enlightened master or rishis. Society is nothing to them. They live in their own space, their own bliss, in their own so-called whatever they create. They have the power to create what they want, how they want to live. Okay, so they have that freedom. Same way, when you become more and more aware of your true nature, you have that same power to create the life as you want, because you just know this is who you are, and this is the way how you want to enjoy life, even though you have assumed a form, okay? Whether in this body, as this form, in this country, in this life, in doing this work, whatever work that you have chosen, whether it's as a sannyas, whether it's as a householder, whether as, we call it a leader, whatever may be your contribution to the society, at the end of the day, deep within you, you're more than all this. This is just like a facade for you to do the work, but you're more than that. Understand? If you look at all enlightened masters, you will find that you cannot put them in a box or like a pigeonhole. You can't pigeonhole them. They're like a they're so big, they're so vast that you feel that you can't even define them. This is the way how even when you relate with Swamiji, you can't put Swamiji in a form. He's more than that. You may see one of the aspect, but he's more than that. The more you discover, you realize that he's that formless. He's undefined, unknown. So when you realize that you're also unknown, then you have come back to your original state. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we talk about science of immortality, right? It means you're deadless. But society taught us death, right? So many people are caught with the fear of death, correct? So he said, when fear of death engulfs you, what do? Just have a cup of coffee. And you say, so simple, that's a solution? He said, be very clear, we can have only one thought at a time because the mind can only entertain one thought at a time. And each thought replaces the thought that the preceding thoughts, right? Or the preceding thoughts, is being replaced by the new thought. So each thought that comes up replaces the thought that precedes it. So people come to me and ask, okay, my whole life is filled with the fear of death. I'm so scared of fear of death, right? I don't know what to do. How do I get rid of this fear? So Swamiji tell them, just have a cup of coffee or tea or water. Just replace that fearful thought with a new thought. That's it. Then he said, what is this? How can a cup of tea or a cup of water or coffee help me to get out of my fear of death? Then Swamiji said, come and sit, have a cup of coffee now. Okay, when they're having a cup of coffee, I asked them, what happened to the fear of death? They said, for that moment, it was not there, Master. I forgot about the fear of death. Then he said, precisely. That in that moment, you're no longer entertaining the fear of death. You're entertaining, I want to have a cup of coffee. That's all. Just keep replacing until that whole fear of death leaves your system. You say, all you need to do is just have a cup of coffee. The moment you have the thought that you want to have a cup of coffee, the thought of fear of death would have been replaced, disappear. It is a simple logic. The moment you decide to stand up, you renounce the thought of sitting, right? The moment you decide to walk out of the place, you have renounced the thought of staying behind. So the moment you decide to come in, you have renounced the thought of going or standing outside. Every thought is replacing the earlier thought. Just realize that your mind can only entertain one thought. It keeps replacing itself. So every moment you just keep replacing whatever depressive thought. Let's say people fall into depression. Just replace the depressive thought to another thought. Then you're out of the depression. That's all. Isn't it so simple? But people cannot. They keep going back to the pain shock of depression. They keep clutching back. That's why they never get out of the depression, because they keep going back to that, the same thought. Swamiji say, if you unclutch 11 times that depressive thought, you get out of it. You will never come back. 11 times. All you need to do is have patience to unclutch 11 times. If that same thought comes back again, keep unclutching till it never returns. Okay? Next slide. Continue with this whole discussion of fear of death. Okay, he said, so understand every moment you are renouncing your thought according to your very nature. The moment you decide to have a cup of coffee or tea, you have already renounced the thought of fear of death. Okay, the fear of death is replaced by the thought of having a cup of coffee. So a big problem would be if you would say, Master, when the fear comes back, what do I do? I may be enjoying coffee, and then after that, maybe 2 hours later, the fear come back again. Then he said, be very clear. The moment you decide that the fear will come back again, you are bringing back that fear. Okay? It is not coming back, but your strong faith that it will come back brings the fear back. Your faith that you will come back, that fear is bringing that thought back. Okay? Understand? Catch this subtlety. This is too subtle. It is your mind working, but when you don't know how to catch yourself, that strong faith that you bring it back again. You didn't know that you're the culprit. Okay? You think that something is being cursed on you. No, it is you. You brought it back. So why are you bringing it back again? When he has already left you? He had already left you when you had a cup of coffee, but you brought it back again. Why? Right? Then some people say, how can it be so simple? You have always thought and you have always been taught and made to believe that it is not so simple, because you only want to believe this kind of thing has to come with a lot of effort, very complicated. But the truth is, all these great truths are very simple, straightforward, but you don't believe. Your mind wants to entertain something super logical and complicated. It is that simple. If you really understand this, it is so simple. Spirituality is so simple, but you make it complicated because you're analyzing, you're reacting with your mind. Okay, if you're falling into the consciousness, all this will just drop away. All this will no longer be relevant. So people are constantly telling me, he said, it is not so easy, right? But I'm telling you, literally, it is so simple. For enlightened master, it's like, why are you still stuck? Because you're entertaining with your mind. You bring it all back. Nothing needs to be done. Just need to replace. A simple understanding is all that you need. It's all that is needed to get out of whatever low mood or depressive mood that you are in. Because if you understand the nature of the mind and understand your true nature, you will be able to just walk free. Fall back to your original state of being unclutched, unattached. This is what you are as a witness, a seer of everything. Next slide. Okay. So now listen, suffering is because of that uncertainty. Why are we suffering? Why human being is filled with so much suffering? How nice if we're Ananda, we are bliss. Why so much suffering on planet Earth? Why human beings are suffering? You may ask, right? So this is the answer given by Ashtavakra. He says, fear is because of possibility of not achieving your goal, right? When you created certain expectation or certain goal, you carry the fear that you may not achieve it, right? Fear is not connected to your failure. Fear is connected to your fear of failure. You fear that you will fail. That is creating the fear. You fear that you will not make it. Okay. So if you are haunted by greed or fear, right? You want this, you want to make this happen, or you're scared of this, right? It is just because of your clutching and connecting. When you have fear or greed, you're clutched. You're already attached to something. So if you understand this one truth, that constantly you renounce, constantly replace your own thoughts, just like a glass of water or coffee is enough to get rid of the fear of death. Because the moment you decide to have a glass of water or coffee, the thought of fear will have already been replaced and disappeared. If the thought of death was so strong, right? If the thought of death is so strong, it would still be there. Instead, it can easily be replaced by just a simple thought of having a cup of tea or coffee. So a cup of tea is more than enough to get you out of the fear. A glass of water is more than enough to get rid of all the fear of death. okay? To get rid of the great grief of the fear of death, to get rid of any problem in your life, any problem you're stuck, just replace that thought with another thought. That's it. It's that simple. Next slide. Okay, so do not be empowering your enemy. Do not empower your enemy, which is your mind, the mind stuff, before fighting with him, okay? What you are doing is you're empowering the mind, giving life to the mind. Then you're trying to kill it. You give energy, give it so much life already, and you try to slay the mind. Of course, you're going to need to lose because you already given the energy, you already given the life. So first you need to understand that you cannot kill the mind because he does not exist. It's a Maya, illusion. Remember, he said mirage of the snake in a robe. It's just a robe, but you think it's a snake. You try to use your sword to slay the snake, but it's not there. Okay? So this is what is happening. Okay, you try to kill because he does not exist. If he exists and you can fight with him, there's still a fight going on. But it is not there. So you're fighting with a shadow, or which is darkness, ignorance. You're fighting with someone who does not exist. So how foolish can you be? You're constantly fighting with something that does not exist. This is Maya. This is the mirage that Ashtavakra is saying. So Maya is the myth, understand? Your ideas about pain or pleasure is just pure myth. In Sanskrit, we call it Maya. Maya, yeah, okay, means the literal translation is of the Maya in Sanskrit is that does not exist. It doesn't exist. So if it doesn't exist, why you give importance to it? Okay? So if it doesn't exist, then don't fight with something that does not exist. So understand that your mind, your fear, your greed does not exist just because you clutch all your thoughts and see. It gives you a feeling that they do exist. The moment you're clutched, you think that they exist. So if you are unclutched, unattached, you understand the simple truth that the mind is just a myth. Whatever you think as you is a lie. Okay, when you stop connecting all this and creating a shaft, a pain shaft or a joy shaft, suddenly you open up to the truth that by your very nature, you are unconnected, illogical, unclutched being. The mind is unconnected, illogical, irresponsible. Your nature is unclutched being. Okay, so Swamiji say, I have only one message from Ashtavakra. You are an unclutched being. By your nature, you are unattached. All you need is have the courage to let go. Let go all this clutching. When you don't have the courage, just like what Swamiji gave the analogy of the bird, sitting on the what you call it, the stick, right? Because of the weight, the bird tumble, and then because he's scared of falling, the bird hang on itself to the stick. If the bird realized that he can just let go and he would just fly away, but the bird wouldn't dare to let go. We're just like that bird. Don't dare to let go of the mind. He just said, just let go of your mind. You will see, you'll fly. You are a free being. You are unclutched. You are liberated. You are forever, free and happy. So just let go. Next slide. So be liberated. He said, come back. You are liberated by your nature. We are like the bird who's holding on to the hunter's trap, which is the stick, afraid to let go without realizing that we can just fly and be liberated. If only we let go. If you let go, just like the bird, if you let go, the bird may just take one few seconds to flutter the wings again, and then you will be free again. But the bird does not realize that it can be free, so it's clutching onto the stick with its dear life. Okay, so in the same way, we're holding on to our mind and ego, which are nothing but non-existent shaft. We cling on to things that do not exist, even exist. We are bound by the mind which itself is a myth. The birds, which is trying to hold on, thinks that if he lets go, he will fall and hit the head and die. No, he said, if you let go, we will, the bird will just fly away and, never fall and die. So realize that same way. You don't need the mind to exist. You don't need the mind. Okay? Swamiji said that you can live without the mind. Okay? Just constantly be in an unclutched space. If you need the mind, just pick it out and do the planning. After that, just, put it aside. So you're also clutching to the mind and the ego, waiting for Yama, the Lord of Death, to come and get you. So if you let go, you also can simply be free and fly, just like the bird, be liberated. If you imbibe and understand these truths that have been revealed by Ashtavakra and Swamiji, the enlightenment experience can be yours right away. You can simply have it. Liberate yourself. So in his concluding note, he said, may you radiate the eternal bliss, the Nityananda, eternal bliss. Okay? Because by our very nature, we are Nitya Ananda. We are eternally blissful. Okay? So now, next slide. This is the last slide. Next slide, we're going into the meditation. Okay, so listen. In this unclutching session, okay? You notice I never put unclutching meditation anymore. Because you're not meditating anymore. You're just sitting with yourself and getting back to your true nature of being unclutched or unattached. Okay? Initially, when you practice, it may seem like a meditation. But when you become more and more subtle to the truth of your original nature, you are no longer meditating. You just fall in tune with your true nature by realizing, cognizing this truth and just living it. Once you start living it, so there's no more technique, no more meditation, just falling back to your original state and realize and be blissful. Okay, so in today's session, we're going to do 21 minutes, accumulating all the truth that have been revealed by Ashtavakra and Swamiji. Okay, are you all ready? Please go and get your IBAN. Please get your IBAN. I give you a minute to go and get an IBAN. Okay, so any question? You guys understand what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up. Huh? So cool, right? It's so simple. But our mind think is so complicated. So now I'm going to make you experience. See, I remember when I was in the inner awakening, at some point in time, when we were made to sit with Swamiji, okay, we sat for hours just doing the unclutching. We just sit with him. He just come in. I remember he just sit in the throne and we're all seated on the floor. He just make us wear the IBAN and he said, no meditation, no technique, just unclutch. Okay? See, when you become more and more subtle in the unclutching, first you may have verbalization inside. You may tell yourself, okay, let me unclutch. You will talk to yourself. He said, no, even unclutch from that verbalization, because verbalization is another thought, one more thought. So when you realize that you're clutched, just relax without saying. Just do the action of unclutching. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to practice that, then you know what I'm saying. The moment you become aware, thought has come, don't even tell yourself, be unclutched. Let me unclutch. No, that let me unclutch itself is another thought. The mind has come in. Just relax. When you become aware, just relax, get back, and get back. Okay? Got it? Let me just set the timer. Okay, so all of you sit now. Let's enter into the space of being unclutched. Okay, so sit. Bring your awareness to this body first. Unclutch from this body. Remember in the third verse, if I remember correctly, he said, unclutch from this body. Don't be clutched to this body that you feel suffering of this body. All the pains and all this are because you're clutching too much. Okay? So lock the body in a still posture. That means like a statue, don't move anymore. Lock all the joints. Be completely still. Every movement is a thought. The mind has already come in. No movement. Just be completely still. Okay? Then start breathing. The next layer of awareness, your breath awareness. Watch the breathing, the prana shakti, which connects you to your consciousness. Okay? The breath is the bridge between you and existence, consciousness. So start breathing. Don't even have any verbalization, oh, I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling. No. Just watch the breath movement. The breathing movement, just watch that you're breathing. Don't talk to yourself in silence. Just watch. Any internal verbalization is a thought. Don't verbalize anything. The moment you notice thought has come in, just unclutch. Do not even say anything to yourself. Don't criticize. Don't judge. Just become aware and unclutch. Start now. relax. So we unshare the screen. So how was the unclutching session? You can share that on the screen. You can share by either texting or you can also Anyone had extraordinary experience this time around?
It's really need to practice to let go the verbalization, because I'm used to use the verbalization to remind myself to unclutch this, do this, do that.
Yes. This one needs a little bit practice. Swamiji say, in the mood, just be in the mood of unclutching, just do it. Don't have to tell yourself to do it internally. See, when you do that, it means you've gone down to the next level of subtle awareness. See, at the very gross level, you tell yourself, oh, I have to breathe, I have to do this. Like your mind is very, very occupied with so many instructions going on inside, right? But this is the first gross level of unclutching. But after that, he just said, be in the mood of unclutching, just no verbalization, no visualization, just do it like in that mood, just do it. Okay? Yes, you need practice. When we were in awakening, we sat for hours with Swamiji. He made us do that. Towards the end, the unclutching, just only sitting with him, just sitting with him, sitting, hours of sitting. So great. Yeah, you need to practice. So do that, like when you become your nature, anything you're doing, even when you're traveling, commuting from place to place, or you're in an office doing your thing, you can also be in the space of unclutching. You can just go through the action of doing, but you don't need to be clutched. But that one needs training, right? Like I say, the mind needs to be trained. You first need to understand the nature of the mind, and you need to train it to make sure that you know how to unclutch from it. It means disengage. You know how when you drive the car, right? You press the clutch and change the gear. So unclutching is the same thing. Just get back to the neutral zone of silence. In those silence, you become intelligent. You become aware. Great. Someone type something with that. Let me just see. Make sure you're more sensitive to sound and energy, and little scared of being so sensitive. Don't have the fear, my dear Maheshwari. You realize that all the different sound become amplified. Do you realize that? The ticking of the clock here suddenly becomes so loud. Normally you're not aware by this, it becomes so loud. Everything become like amplified because you become aware. Even you can feel what is happening inside your body. Like I can feel the energy flowing, the prana flowing in my body, like in my brain. I can feel everything so much detail. Okay, when you unclutch, you become one with many parts of you, many dimensions of you. It's like everything become so intense. Even at one moment I had an experience when I was doing the unclutching, right? I just suddenly saw like a expansion of like the sky, the whole vision in the third eye become like clouds expanding. Then after that, the expansion becomes so vast that I just feel that I'm in like in the whole universe. The whole universe open up. I'm just sitting like in the whole universe. So that is the vision I had when I am completely unclutched. I just saw that. So remember, in the unclutched state, many things you start seeing in reality. Okay, don't get imbalanced or frightened. This is what you need to remain calm and as a witness. Like Maheshwari, got frightened. When you get frightened, it means the mind has come in already. No, because many things become new experiences. You just again be a witness. Again and again become a witness. Whatever is opened up and revealed to you, just be witness. Don't wah, you know, no wah, and ha, so scared. No. Just be a witness. Okay. Swamiji said, don't get clutched to even the experiences. Unclutch some more. You will fall to the bliss, the unbounded bliss. Okay, the supreme bliss. Understand? Because a lot of time when we had initially when we unclutch, you have many illusions, many minds open up, and you start seeing things. Okay, even those moments, unclutch from those experiences. Understand? Even you have like darshan of deity, don't say wah, you know, don't go wah. Just also unclutch. Just relax and unclutch. Just witness and let it go. Okay, so then you reach the depth of the unclutched state. Okay, Anita said, I find that the energy shaft are so deeply entrenched that it's quite hard to unclutch unless we understand the root cause of the energy shaft that we have created. I've been trying for 2 weeks now, and unclutching is, I found it both mental and physical. Yeah, initially it will be mental and physical, my dear. So just be a witness. All you need to do is understand these are thoughts. They come and go. Your mind is working. It's the initial level, at the gross level of unclutching, the mind is involved. Okay? But when you start to go to the more subtle aspect of your awareness, you will be able to disassociate the mind and the consciousness. Okay, so don't give up, just continue. You have a breakthrough in that. I bless you to have a breakthrough. Okay, initially the mind and the physical will be involved. That is because the gross level of existence is that only. I remember when I first started doing the unclutching in the IA, Swamiji, first few sessions is unclutch from the body and the breath. Okay, see, when you try to sit, your body will have pain there and pain there, discomfort here and discomfort there, right? Because you're not used to sitting. So all the pain in the muscle memory will all come and jump out and scream at you. And so you become fidgety. So when you become fidgety, your mind has already come in, right? So that restlessness needs to be exhausted. Do you understand? It takes time for the purification to happen. The purification is you need to continue with will persistent to sit. Sit and sit and sit. Okay? Any question?
I think to become the body, it's like you go, like I see a lot of lights like that, just like but they have to come up.
Yeah. See, we only do 21 minutes. Imagine we do for hours. You know, one thing came to my mind when I was doing this meditation. You know, Swamiji initiated us into Navagandha Samadhi, right? Yoga Samadhi. It means the 8 parts, 9 parts, right? Okay, actually 10 parts, 9 cuts, right? So because the unclutching becomes subtle, the prana, the different joy, the energy disappear, which means if you look through the 2 eyes, you as if that you have been cut 10 parts. 9 cuts, but 10 parts. Okay, this is the unclutching reach a supreme state. See, that state, it means what? You're in Kailasa. He say that you're in Kailasa. Okay, so I'm just thinking, wow, I want to experience that one. So, which means you need practice. You need to sit, become comfortable. You know, when the prana, you reach certain state, the prana start dissolving, reach a certain frequency. Okay, which means when you reach certain frequency, the eyes is not able to detect anymore the certain frequency of your prana, your body. And so it appears that your body is broken. Okay? This is called Nava. Nava means 9. Ganda, Yoga, Samadhi. You're in the Samadhi state where the body looks like it has been cut 9 cuts, but 10 parts. Okay? So I was like, cool. I think someday I'm going to have to experience that. Maybe I will start manifesting. So bless me, Swamiji, to manifest Nava Ganda Samadhi. Okay? Tomorrow's darshan, I will ask for it. Okay, so great. So I hope I answer your question, Anita. Yes. So just keep trying. Don't have the fear, and whatever experiences that come during the unclutching, don't get clutched. Don't have fear. Again, I'm clutched. Just fall back to the state. Don't just say wow and get navigating to different experiences and again get distracted. Okay. See, in unclutching session, many things will come, many beings will come, many things will come. Even your Maya, your past life Maya, all these things will come up. Okay, like you open up the Maya. Okay, again unclutch from anything that come as an experience. Understand? When you keep unclutching, even the Maya, even the deities, whatever the experiences you come, then you fall to the true nature of realization. Okay? Got it? Yes? Let me see what Anita said. Yes, it is happening. Many things. Yes. So don't get attached even to the many experiences. Just keep unclutching. Okay? Great. I think all of you got that. See, I leave you all to practice and start enjoying unclutching. Okay, so maybe before I end, I'd like to Shankari can show the slide of what is going to happen next. So as you know, this is the last session. We're going to start a new session next week with Bhagavad Gita reading. Okay, Bhagavad Gita, because this whole Chatumasya, Chatu means 4, Matsya means month. These 4 months of intense tapas, it means spiritual training, spiritual practice. Swamiji has told us to read the scripture. So one of the scripture that he has recommended is this book, Bhagavad Gita, decoded. Bhagavad Gita literally means song of God. Okay, song of God. It means the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Okay. In the midst of Mahabharata, the war, okay? So in Kurukshetra, the battlefield. So it is going to be a conversation and how it relates to all the mind patterns and suffering of humanity, and Krishna is giving the answer. So this is going to be interesting. And for the first time, I'm not doing alone. I have someone from India. So it's going to be a Chinese, Asian, Chinese learning Bhagavad Gita from Indian. So I have a fellow Mahanta from India, and she's going to pair up with me to do this because I will be asking like a seeker. I'm the Arjuna. Okay, I'm going to ask all the questions based on, because my upbringing as a Chinese, right? So Mahabharata, war, and Bhagavad Gita may be foreign to me, although I read, but I may not have the depth, as compared to people who are born and brought up in that culture. Okay, so all my questions will be from a different culture, and I think it's going to be quite fun. So I'm looking forward to that. So I welcome all of you to come back. Same time, same session, but this time around we're going to explore another new scripture, Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so with that, let's end with the Purna Mantra. I thank you all for coming. Shankari, do you take a screenshot? Yes, great. So let's conclude now with the Purna Mantra. Thank you all for joining. Please share all your 7 session experiences of this Ashtavakra. I would like to collect the people who attended the 7th session, please share your experiences. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sovam Bhagavad Shri Nityananda Paramashiva Parga Paramastu. Om Nityanandam. Thank you, Nityanandam. Good night.